Good evening, children of the night. I'm Dion the Vamp. Tonight we are playing Ballads at Midnight. It's a visual novel. I know you might be used to me playing these visual novels with a couple other Chateau members, but I just want to give this a go. Just me. I believe there are two main characters. This game is free on Steam, and I believe you can get it on itch.io as well. Probably a good place to go throw a couple of coins if you enjoy the game. There's gonna be a vampire. I know that much. I believe the main character is like, I don't know, like on the run. I don't know. I already forgot what the summary says. And I know there are 3 endings. Good or bad might be subjective. But there is partial voice acting in here, I believe. I do recall reading that it says there are 2 original songs, which I think is really cool. I mean, this opening music already sounds great. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Ballads at Midnight. Chapter 1, Prelude to Dawn. My wrists itch. My stomach is churning and empty. My legs are sore. The swath of hemp fabric strung taut around my cheeks and tied in a knot behind my head is chafing against the corners of my mouth. There's a bitterness on my tongue. I idly wonder if it's the taste of regret. I wonder if she did. My 2 armored escorts ride ahead of me, exchanging hushed words. I make a short, unhappy noise to contribute to the conversation. I don't know, maybe like meh. They ignore me. Pockmarked guardsman. But are you sure, sir? Really, are you sure? Shouldn't we stop and make camp before sundown, sir? The younger guardsman is jittery and demanding, with a stooped posture that reminds me of a rat. His round face is marred by pockmarks and worry lines. So young and full of worry lines? Old guardsman. No need. We're making good time. The other guard, as old and large as a cavern wall, has a deep, crusty voice well suited to his frame. I once saw him struggle to fit through a door. Okay, so I guess she was in the town that these guards were. The pockmarked guard glances toward the horizon line, gritting his teeth. But sir... Enough. We will be rid of her today. Be rid of me? Like being rid of some piss-stained rug? How rude. What did I ever do to warrant such objectification? Feeling vexed, I continue to groan and yowl against the hemp between my teeth. It's inarticulate and far from the most graceful sound I've ever made, but I make it sound increasingly urgent. Old guardsman, noise and more noise. One of them pulls the reins of his horse, dismounting with a dull, armored clatter, like a rattling dish cabinet. It's the younger one, good. He approaches me, muttering swears as he reaches back to yank the gag from my head. Pockmarked guardsman. What convict? What is it now? Ooh. Let's see. Will people buy me a drink? Already the first choice. She does give me the vibe like maybe she'd do the first option, but... Oh, cool! Her face changes. I don't know, I feel like because she's been like making the sounds, I'll go with the second. You're all ingrates, you hear me? Low-browed, barbaric boneheads, the whole lot of you. Ah! Probably shrieking. Me, a prisoner. Oh, it's again. You're all ingrates, you hear me? Low-browed, barbaric boneheads, the whole lot of you. Old guardsman. Will you make her stop? What did you ungag her for? I'm sorry. You'll all be sorry. Pockmarked guard whirls on me, exasperated. Convict, stop it. You'll attract wolves. My scream dies down only slightly. Pockmarked guardsman. Gods, you really haven't learned your lesson. What's wrong with you? He almost sounds amazed. If my hands were untied, I'd twirl my wrist and do a curtsy. But because my hands are tied, I decide to get in his face. What's wrong? I wager you know exactly what's wrong. I was under the impression we'd moved past ritualistic sacrifice as a civilization, you see. I thought we were better than all of this. Yet, here you knuckleheads are, dragging me through the woods to feed me to a godforsaken vampire. Oh. She's getting sacrificed to the vampire. I stomp on a branch when I get close enough. The ensuing crack obscures the sound as I unsheath the dagger from his belt. I palm it under my sleeve in a quick motion, hoping my ruse goes unnoticed. The guard stumbles away from me. He draws his sword to keep me at bay, snarling. You keep away, you heretic. Don't come near me. I raise my bound wrists in front of my chest, widening my eyes to look appropriately frightened. And I still have his dagger. By the time he clambers back onto his horse, the old companion extends his arm and smacks the back of the young guardsman's head. Idiot. Now we have to listen to her belly aching for the rest of the journey. Do we? The younger guard rubs his head, sounding defensive. She's caused nothing but trouble. Why not slit her throat and be done with it? Let the wildlife take care of the remains. Ah! The old guard hits him again. I'd find human in this slapstick routine if they weren't discussing my imminent demise. Old guardsman. Shush, boy. We carry Her Majesty's order to the letter. You and I. No shortcuts. You know the severity of our laws. Underhanded practice will cost you your damn hands. Underhanded practice? So I guess it's like, so if it's the queen, I guess it's like the court, but like the religion too. The pockmarked god hunches further at the shoulders. His eyes dart around like he wants to argue, but he begrudgingly clamps his mouth shut. I, on the other hand, have dodged penchant for making my observations known, and am blessed with quick retorts. Or is it... well, or it just costs the fingers if you're lucky, I notice our wise old man here is missing a digit or two. I raise my restrained palms, wiggling my fingers. They glower balefully at me. I've seen actual battlefields, harlot. Do not liken me to your crooked, bar-brawling ilk. Convict, heretic, and now harlot. Wonderful. I roll my eyes and wrinkle my nose at him. I'll bet anything the old man is lying. Illuvia hasn't waged any wars in the past half-century. Furthermore, he boasted to my jailers that he's been assigned to post for the brunt of his service to the crown. But I know better than to push my luck with him. He's more prone to violence than the other guardsmen. I used to lag behind at the start of our journey, defiant and stubborn. The old one never hesitated to yank the rope around my wrists. leching me right into brambles and chopped stone. To find him, I learned meant having scraped palms and knees at best. Our pace carefully slows when we cross over a mossy log and a series of thick, tangled roots. For the horse's sake, of course, rather than mine. I work my jaw in silence for a while, keeping a measured distance behind them. My grip on the dagger is unwieldy and clumsy. Aiming it toward my bonds is trickier than I imagined. I flinch as the pointed tip jabs against my inner arm, but shoot the guards a winning smile when they turn to look at me. So, good old cursed forest, eh? Did you volunteer to escort prisoners through the blighted brush, or was it an inherited post? Father's father and such? Pockmarked guard scoffs and mimics my words under his breath. Old guardsman. Nothing to fear in these old woods, lass. Not if you're properly armed. Nothing but bears and wolves. People steer clear because they fear what lies in wait beyond. Surely you know that much. The men don't deign to tell me how they were assigned to their roles. None of my business, I suppose. An overhead canopy of leaves parts, allowing patches of sunlight to heat my scalp and cheek. The journey has been long and exhausting, but not altogether difficult. I'd even consider it idyllic from its perpetual backdrop and bird song and distantly running water. Any sense of leisure sinks and coils at the pit of my stomach as I realize the birds have gone silent. The sound of water has risen into a dull roar. Before us is a murky disk of water blemished green with algae, miles long, miles wide, and heralding uncertain depth. A jagged, ostentatious estate protruding from the ground like a sword through someone's back looms across the water's expanse. Not the first decrepit castle I've seen in my travels, but perhaps it may be my last. That's where I'll be staying then. Home sweet home? Shit. I've barely shone through a quarter of my restraints. Even if I make a break for it now, they'd run me down on horseback. I tried it before, back when they marched me through the greater plains. They nearly trampled me into paste. Old guardsman. Quiet down, you sorry lass. You may wish to take this time to consider your last words. It's not a bad idea. I could hit you with a real zinger before I go. The old guard groans, mumbling a bitter prayer. I barely have time to hide the dagger before he dismounts and shoves me with more force than necessary. He loads me unceremoniously into a ramshackle little boat, leaving the pockmarked guard to deal with me while he tends to the horses. My breath catches when the remaining guard takes the seat opposite to me. His gawky movements nearly make the boat's capsize before we even left the shore. The boat cuts through algae like a knife. On dry land, the guardsman takes a heavy seat in the grass as he watches the sun descend. It's a more serene view than he deserves. I take a deep breath and open my mouth to shout. You old bastard, overgrown prune. I mean, it's the same. I'll just go with, you old bastard. The young god bites back a chuckle and clears his throat. I suppose he's freer to find revelry now that he's a safe distance away. As I warily crane my neck around, I observe how the water completely surrounds the estate. That makes this a moat that curiously isn't a drawbridge in sight. I hope that was loud enough. At its northeast and westward edges, the moat connects to a river. Following one side will likely lead one straight to the... what? Oh, like straight like the path. As at its northeast and westward edges, the moat connects to a river. Following one side will likely lead one straight to the the Republican, to the Rubifian Ocean. It's quite lovely, really, to be surrounded by such wealth of natural water. Shame I never learned how to swim. Well, you know, girlie, me too. I don't suppose I can persuade you to ferry me over yonder, all the way around the estate, on the other side of the shore. The god elects not to reply. He won't even look at me now. Aside from the oars carving through the water, the remaining boat is hushed and nerve-wracking. I sit up straight and stock still, trying to keep my weight centered despite the stinging insects nipping at my neck and ankles. The sun turns red as it dips closer to the horizon. It takes half an hour to reach the other side, if not longer. Beyond the lip of the water is a carved ledge, with a pit of trenches surrounding the estate's perimeter. Ooh, man, the art's nice. The god wastes no time forcing me upright and pushing me off the side. I fall into a roll, barely cushioned by the impact of grassy mud. I aim myself back up with effort, ready to yell, the insult boiling at the tip of my tongue. To my surprise, the young god is still up there, lingering at the edge. Miss me already? Hesitating doesn't make you better than him. Yeah, I mean... I don't know. I feel like there might, I feel like there might be a bit of a alignment path, and I'm... and maybe it's to be too aggressive, but I mean, hey, sure, we can find, in the comedy, we can just find a little solace, right? A little, I have to. Hesitating doesn't make you better than him. Flourished language, achievement unlocked. Ew, I gotta look. I love achievements, so I look at it. I'm not an achievement hunter, but I really like, to see them. With the sun setting behind the godsman, his features are cast in unreadable shadow. His fingers twitch and tap at his side. He casts an easy glance over his shoulder before, finally, he grumbles and rummages through his overcoat. From it, he pulls out the neck of a familiar instrument and throws it onto the ground with me. She has like a lute in when you see it on Steam. I cry out as my lute lands in the mud, nearly falling onto my own shoulder as I reach and fail to catch it. Ah! You'll meet in your next life, convict. I hope this accursed thing provides you some comfort in your final moments. Like my G, she's still she's still tied. Ooh, I get to save. Return? Did I click save and didn't realize? I glare up at him. Old guy made you nervous, didn't he? All that talk about cutting off hands and being underhanded? Shut up. I knew you were acting jumpy for a reason. I just knew it. You were gonna pawn off my poor little beauty here, but now you don't want to risk getting caught with it. Harlot. He spits at me before he hurries away. Yeah, alright, my G. I listen for the sound of the boat sloshing into the water, and then the creak of oars shortly thereafter. Now, why is it that when people don't know how else to argue with a woman, they must remark on how frequently she has sex? With effort, I dislodge the dagger from the inside of my sleeve. but still unwieldy. Is that how you say it? It's still unwieldy. But cutting myself loose is a little easier than when I don't need to hide the blade from my captors. I pick up my loot, carefully wiping off the dirt and grime before I check and adjust the strings. I holster it across my back where it belongs. It's thankfully intact, but I'm not sure I can say the same about myself. I know I need to come up with a plan. I need to explore and get familiar with my surroundings, seek out a hiding spot while there's still daylight. Ooh, interesting. But my entire body is aching. I wonder if but my entire body is aching. I won't get far if I push myself to move now. I check the inside of my clothes for the last of my possessions, kept safe and hidden under the lining. I've never been more grateful to have learned invisible stitching. A handful of coins and my songwriting journal are all I have left. In her... where? She's wearing pants. I guess if the sleeves are like long, it just doesn't look like it's weighted down or anything. It's drapey. I had hidden a number of small blades on my person, but I was too reckless in my previous escape attempts. I kept getting caught, and then they confiscated all my knives. This guardsman's dagger isn't too shabby, at least. I tuck the blade into my belt, careful not to poke myself. I'll be ready to use it when it's dark. The ledge I fell from casts a long shadow. I edge away from it into the remaining light, and I concentrate on taking deep, rejuvenating breaths. The creature of the night. Ah, that's you guys, that's me, that's all of us, creatures of the night. This creature of the night. I've heard it can change its very shape. If it pursues me in the form of some animal, I doubt I can outrun it for long. It's wisest to save my strength so I can battle whatever form it takes. After all, I'm determined not to go down easily. Chapter 2. Rhapsodic Introductions. Okay, let me save. So I probably did that by accident. Return. Okay. That was part 1 of Ballads at Midnight. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm invested and this game's free, so I can't believe there's so much work in this. But yeah, thank you so much for listening.